So as of this upcoming balance patch, these gargoyles are going to be buffed. At least the fire, the dark, and the water ones. The light one, after reviewing his skills a little bit more, his passive a little bit more, that would have been way too OP if he was buffed to start in stone state, just like the dark one, the fire one, and the water one are going to be. Let me show you a little bit of what I'm talking about before we start with the rest of them. So his passive, Statue of Trial, when you're turned into a statue, increases the skill cooldown time of the target that attacks you for 2 turns. The cooldown time can be increased over the max cooldown time for monsters, excluding the bosses. So, Shungpung attacks you. He starts in, if he were to start in stone state, right? Shungpung comes in, he starts the control nonsense. Wind Robo, Dark Robo, things like that. They come in, they attack first, and then they get their cooldowns increased every time they attack him, and they're doing a lot of control. He's not actually getting any turns, and these units are just getting their cooldowns increased by being on the battlefield and doing their skills. So it would have been very, very nasty, very ridiculous for that to be for that to start in stone state. This one I feel would have been okay starting in stone state. He's kind of like a defense-based Jolton, so he's going to reflect damage proportionate to his defense. Jolton already does that as long as he's crit on. So I feel like that wouldn't have been that crazy, but I think they just couldn't keep him out of the starting in stone state without having at least one other unit. Otherwise, it looks very awkward. Why did they keep him out and everything else in? So the wind one's not getting touched. The light one's not getting touched. The other ones are getting touched. Let's take a brief recap of what they do with mostly their passives, because that's really the only change. Is they're going to start in stone state, so their passives are going to be active throughout the entire match. So, Statue of Robust passive, if your turn ends with less than 70% HP, you'll turn a new statue. Regardless, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about today. These guys starting in stone state. The target that attacks you will have its attack power decreased for 2 turns when the target attacks you when you're turned into a statue. So, anything that attacks him from the beginning of the match onward is going to be attack power broken. This kind of reminds me of even after getting buffed, he's still not as good as, although this is one of my favorite niche 4 stars is Yanhua, the Wind String Master. So her passive is actually, this. Plays song decreases the HP of the enemy that gets turned by 5% each and decrease the attack power. So attack power decrease, but also it's going to take their HP as well. So I still think that that's going to be better than this, but at least he's going in the direction of something that is a usable unit currently. Not that it's usable everywhere, but it is kind of fun to play with, and when it works, it's very fun. So next one is Kunite. Kunite was already a unit that you could use in Guild Siege every once in a while if you feel like building him, if you feel like using him. This guy I think might actually have some potential in arena offense. Possibly not arena offense. Well, if you want to run a bruiser offense, then maybe against an aggressive defense. But Statue of Protection passive. Again, just starting in stone state, so the first sentence doesn't really matter for what we're talking about today. Damage dealt on allies will be reduced gradually if the ally gets tagged with multiple hits when you're turned into a statue. So, starts in stone state, any multi-hits going to do reduced damage. On arena defense, Lucian, Julie, anything that has multi-hits could be strong on defense, since he starts the match already in stone state. Aside from that, he's got this pure damage based on his defense, which is actually not bad. That's kind of the fun part about him. And then this is a stun. He also increases his defense every time he uses his stone claws. So already a fun unit. Not like you can bring him everywhere, but just starting the match. The transmogs are amazing in my opinion. These are some of the best transmogs in the game, and I've just been wanting to use these units because they look so cool. They looked cool before, in my opinion, but they look even cooler now. So, I think that could be possibly a thing for arena defense. And then we do have the Dark One Onyx. So I actually just finished skilling him up today because I plan on using him. This is how I'm going to use him for... Not that I was going for Nemesis specifically, but I wanted him to have Vampire and high defense. So I'm going to try him out with that build for the post balance patch version. So Statue of Immortal passive when your turn ends, blah blah, that doesn't matter. You can't get defeated when you're turned into a statue. So kind of like the Light Lich annoyance of Light Lich gets invincibility and then Light Lich steals health if you have strips, if you have things that steal, block beneficial effects, then the Light Lich is less nasty. But this, kind of similar, passive, and it's going to start from the beginning of the match. You can't get defeated when you're turned into a statue. So even if you get one-shotted, you start as a statue, can't get defeated, finally gets a turn, he's going to heal some HP, heal 15% HP, then does this pure damage in proportion to his defense, and on Vampire should be fun. I'm hoping so anyway. But that's my thoughts on these Gargoyle buffs. I don't think that they're going to be as crazy meta as I initially thought they were going to be. The transmog is so cool. I don't think they're going to be as crazy meta as I wanted them to be, but I do think that they're actually going to see some use, and you might see some Fire Gargoyle arena defenses. Anyway, that's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Just food for thought. I will see you as always in the next one.